Hey guys, this is part 10 of my testimony, Life of Vanessa of the Cross. This will be my final testimony. I'm going to finish it all of what I need to say about what God is calling me to say and for what y'all need to hear. And I want to share with y'all. Honestly, I don't want to share it because obviously it was a vulnerable part of my life. But I have to share what God has done in my life. Because it wasn't easy at all. So I last stopped whenever my roommate had offered a plate, and when I was eating there, that's when I had seen my future husband slash baby daddy, the one that gave me my first son and only son. And when I had seen him, we kind of just like locked eyes, and it was like I was honestly coming from a hurt spot. Y'all may have, if y'all watched the previous ones, I was dealing with a heartbreak, and I honestly wasn't looking for nothing, but my roommate was like, "You need to get on Bumble. You need to do this, like, to find another guy." And I'm not into the whole dating apps. I'm not. I never was. I never wanted to. Yes, I may have been on them, but I never was into that. That's not where I wanted to find love, and I knew I wasn't gonna find love through there. Like in my heart, I just knew I want to find somebody that's genuine and that actually cares and loves me for me, and not searching for millions of women on the web. Like that's how I always seen it. And so when I had first seen my baby daddy, I was like, oh, okay, it didn't cross to me. Oh, I'm gonna see him later. And everybody kept talking about like some little get together somebody was throwing. So I ended up going because my roommate was like, go, we're gonna have a good time. And I don't think we had a good time, but we get there. I literally, like, I look like worse than this. My eyes were more puffy, and I've been crying already. So kind of looks like what I probably looked like. And I just remember going into the room, and or the dorm, but the actual room, and that's when I seen my baby daddy, and that's when we started like conversing, and we were talking about like our job in the military, and he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna work right next to you," and like in my head, they told me that I was gonna be in customer service, but when I actually got to my job on Monday, they put me literally right next to him. So it's like I kind of like, you know. So before that all had happened, he was flirting with me in a way. He was like messing with my legs and whatnot. And then it got towards like the end of the night, and we're going and like home, like back to our dorm. My roommate gets touched like by her ass, and then he was like in the car. Like before, like I didn't see it happen obviously, but I was like distracted, and then I was distracted by my baby daddy, and like I was leaning in to kiss him, and that's when my roommate pulled me off and was like, he has a girlfriend, like don't even. And I'm like, oh, I wish I would have known that. This man has been giving me mixed signals. That should have been a red flag, but I didn't take it as a red flag. I was just like, I'm not gonna mess with a guy that has a girlfriend. Do I have a speck in my hair? Sorry guys. And so I was just like, whatever, I'm not gonna mess with him. But like he couldn't leave my mind, and we kept hanging out. And it's like I feel like he couldn't leave my mind because he was always around. Like he was at work, he was with my friend group, and then obviously I was lonely, sad, and I wanted to date, but like I should have actually took the time to wait. A couple weeks gone by. I wasn't talking to anybody like that. And then we ended up going to a party, and the day before, like it was his friend's party, the day before that, he texted me like, oh, I broke up with my girlfriend. And I was like, oh, like I took it as a sign like, oh, like maybe he likes me, because like he kept throwing hints like at me, like oh, I kind of like you in a way, because he was always trying to be around. And I'm just like, someone that has a girlfriend wouldn't want to always be around me, or like try to be in the same area or friend group. And at the time I was just like, I was looking for someone to hang out with. So I should have took that as red flags back then, but I didn't. I was like, oh, he's single now, I can start talking to him. And so at the party, we ended up getting together, and ever since then, we had never like stopped hanging out. And then I went back home in February. And then when I went back home in February, on the way back from February, sorry, back from home, um, I was on a plane, and I sat next to a couple. I sat at the front row. Like, when do I ever sit at the front row? It was so weird. And why would, like, honestly, there was probably so much space. Like, I was first boarding, and they already sat down, and there was nobody behind. But why would I sit next to a pregnant lady and and her man, a couple? Why would I sit next to them? It didn't dawn on me at the time. I just sat next to them, and I was like, I'm gonna be the first to get off, or one of the first to get off. And then they started talking to me. They're like, "Oh, what do you do? How you been? Like, what are you up to?" Like, and I just started talking about my life. Like, it felt like, a good interaction. And then they started like talking about, do you go to church? Do you do this? Like, and they're like, we're going to be ministering at our church this weekend. You should totally come by. And, 19-year-old me, I'm like, oh yeah, totally. I'm going to go. Like, I wanted to go. But like, alone? Probably not. And that's where I failed as myself. I failed because like I really don't like going places alone, especially like people I just met. I was just like, yeah, I totally go. And it got to a point where it's like they told me exactly where, and I didn't hear them because we were on a plane. And I was just like, what'd you say? And then I felt like I didn't, when you don't want to make someone repeat themselves. And I was like, okay. And I'm like, I'm gonna write it down. And all I put like the area I lived in, I think it was Sun City. I put Sun City Church. And like, that's all I had put in my notes. And I was like, okay, I'll go. Like, I didn't like, I should have asked, and I should have been like more persistent in that moment. Because I feel like that was God's way of being like, I'm testing you in this moment. And I failed. I go back and I get picked up by my new partner, and we go back to his place, like his dorm, and we're laying in bed, and he's like, hey, like, would you want to be my girlfriend? And this was like weeks after we've been talking. And I'm like, sure, like, like, yes. And then I told him about like what had happened on the plane. I was like, hey, like, I was offered to go to a church. I can't remember, or I couldn't hear, and I didn't want to keep asking, like, oh, what would you say, so I could write it down. Like, I wasn't hesitant on it, and I should have been. But I was like, would you even want to go to church? Because like, I kind of want to go to church. And it kind of like was a dog on me. He was just like, like he started making all these excuses on why he didn't want to go, like his family trauma, this and that. And I'm just like, all right. So when you get shut down, you kind of don't want to mention it again. That's kind of how it was. Like, I got shut down, and I mean, 19-year-old me, any little shut down from a guy, like, I'm like, okay, I won't talk about it no more. But like, adult me, now knowing, I'm gonna be like, nah, if you don't believe, or if you're not leading me to the church, to read, to this, you're not leading me to Christ, I don't want to be with you. But like, little old me, I had no structure. I didn't have no guidance growing up. I didn't know, like, and going back, like, I wish I could just, but I had to go through that, And like, yes, I love my son and I love everything that I have gone, but like, to save me troubles and the heartache and, a toxic environment, I wish I would have known, you know what I mean? So like, this is like, number one, our foundation is built on Christ or it will crumble. I'm telling you. And so after that, our relationship really was going bad. But I didn't leave. I never left. And I would just forgive, and take the blame for everything. And I wish I didn't. I wish I would have just said, nah, I'm not doing this no more. But I don't know. I just, when you have intercourse with someone before marriage, before all that, you get like this soul tie and you don't want to leave. And or like the little good moments you cherish, and then you forget about the bad, or you think about the bad, of course, but like you just like, I remember the good times. But you don't realize that that's not how we should be treated, you know? A man shouldn't yell, call you names, shouldn't dog on anything. He should lead you and want you to do better, but not down you, be jealous, envy, none of that. None of that. He shouldn't do none of that. But it was done. You know what I mean? And I felt like I literally was slowly losing everything in that relationship. Like I literally was losing my mind, my money. Like money isn't everything, but like I literally was always like, I'm gonna save, I'm gonna do this. But like with him, I couldn't even save anymore. Like, and I told him, I was like, I'm gonna leave you if you don't know how to save. And then so we get this home, like, cause he's like, oh, I gotta get out of the dorms, and I'm still in the dorms. He's like, I need to get out the dorms. I'm gonna move in with my friend and be his roommate. And his friend was best friends with that one ex, and I couldn't see us working out if he moved in with him. I'm just like, if you move in with him, like, I know you're gonna be around that ex. She's gonna try to come all the time, and I can't be around people like that. You know what I mean? That is talking to their ex. Like I just at the time, I don't know, that was the only thing that fucking bothered me. And it shouldn't have been. It should have been more red flags. I should have left before then. But whenever I like somebody, or, you know, I get to know people, like, it's hard for me to let them go. Like, it's the hard truth, hard pill I have to swallow, is letting people go when I need to, when they no longer benefit me, or they're no longer treating me the way I should be treated. And so, I'm sorry, guys. Y'all probably hear that. But, we got to looking at homes. I got my best friend at the time. She was like, oh, I just bought a home. And I told him, I was like, you know, that is a great idea. I kept planning that. I'm like, we should buy a home. We should buy a home. We should buy a home. And we're not married at the time. So he ends up, and then honestly, I couldn't even get a home if I wanted to. But he ends up getting the home. And I help him with the earnings full, because he don't have no money. He don't know how to manage money. He don't know how to save. So of course I'm fronting the money for a home that he's purchasing. I have no ties, nothing. And then we get into the home, and then without me, he wouldn't even have that home. You know what I mean? So we get there, he deploys, and when he goes on his deployment, that's when all the red flags started kicking in. Like I couldn't do nothing. And before the deployment, we do get married, because in order for me to move out the dorms, I needed to get out of the military. Not the military. Fuck. Sorry, guys. I needed to get out. I'm sorry for cussing too. I needed to get out of the dorms by getting married. And I was just like, if I love the guy, like, of course I want to marry him. And like, you know, why not just rush everything before he deploys, so we can have our home, we can have, you know, everything. And we have a dog, so like I ended up getting a dog when he was like being roommates with my friend. And yeah, that was a bad idea. And in a moment in my spirit, I was like, this is a bad idea, I should wait. But I was like, but you know, Satan and his little demons, they're like, oh, this is nice. They're gonna move in together before marriage, and they're gonna get married too soon, not even by Christ. We're gonna sell them on this thing. And I'm just like, there goes me, yay, I'm gonna be happy, I'm gonna have my marriage finally, I'm gonna be married, I'm gonna have my dreams come true. No, it wasn't like that. It was literal hell. I was living in hell every day. The first day I was married, I knew I made a mistake. And I know it sounds so shitty. And I know it does. But I fought for it, because he started telling me God wouldn't want this for us. God would want you to fight. And I'm just like, of course he could use that against me. I believe in God. So of course I'm like, oh God, you're right. Like God wouldn't want this for me. God wouldn't want. But then in my soul, in my spirit, it was like leave, leave, leave. But I didn't obey that. I didn't obey that until it was too late. Until I literally was like, God, please. I was begging. And like, so it was just very bad and toxic. Like we'll fight all the time for no reason. Like we never met heads like after we got married. Like it was worse. It was unbelievable what situation I was in. And like I don't even know how to describe it. Like he wants to be like, oh, it was lolly dolly. Like he tells me why did I even leave? But then when I'm like actually remembering everything I put up with, it's like who wouldn't leave? You know what I mean? And then yeah, my whole freaking pregnancy, like he ended up coming back. I get pregnant. Like I really wanted a child because like yes, I was very much suicidal because I was I was so sad all the time. I was like I don't want to be here, and in my spirit I was like I want a baby, and I just ended up getting pregnant, and my son really saved me, and I needed that, you know? I needed that wake up call. I needed that. Without my son, like I would still be putting up with bullshit because, and I looked at what I was dealing with. I'm like, we don't deserve this. I had to think about my son instead of, I should have been thinking about myself, but I didn't. I was thinking about my son. I was like, me and my son don't deserve this. My son deserves a happy mom. My son deserves a mom that's loved and cared for, not a mom that's always crying. And I know I'm crying right now, but it's like talking about my traumas and talking about everything I had been through and gone through it's unbelievable how much my life has changed. And it's because I was lacking God. I needed God. And then I was pregnant, and I was always like, it was like a week, every week it felt like I was like, I'm moving out. I can't do this no more. Because it's like, I would be like sleeping in the guest room. He would just be banging on it like, come sleep with me. Like, like being weird. And then throwing clothes like a laundry basket because over my head while I'm pregnant, like big as fuck. Because I threw his dirty shorts on the floor because like I was just throwing clothes that were dirty on the floor and then making room for the clean clothes. And he got angry and fucking throw like all his clothes on me, his dirty laundry, his dirty filthy gym laundry all over me. And there was like times where too, like I didn't wake him up on time, and he was just literally like yelling at me, like you made me fucking late, you this, like literally just full on anger outburst. First thing in the morning, 6 a.m. I'm ready to get yelled at. 6 a.m., 5 a.m. As I'm trying to say, like if I didn't rush this situation, I would have been okay. I would have seen the red flags later on and be like, yeah, But no, I was like, I want a marriage. I want to be happy. This, and that. I rushed stuff. And I got married too fast. And for the wrong reasons, so we could live together. And we can help each other out. We can do this. But no. It didn't work out like that. Like, yes, I loved him. I love him still. Because I want my son's dad doing good. But like that situation I was in was killing me. And I don't regret it, obviously, because I needed to learn. I needed to go through that. I needed to, experience, what I don't want in a relationship. Experience my growth and the unhealthy patterns. I know, yes, like it felt like a prison. I felt trapped, but I feel like it was just God's way of showing me what actual people deal with, so it could help them reach God instead of just staying stuck in staying stuck in the bad toxic routine cycles. What is it called? The bad toxic cycle. That's what I'm not gonna say because I can't think right now. And there was literally times where I'm just driving because like anytime he was alone, there was always an argument, and it got to the point where I did have my son, and then we were just arguing after I had my son. Like, he was like avoiding coming home. He was always doing other things. Like, I was always just taking care of my son by myself. And like, it got to a point where I did feel like I was single. And then he ended up deploying again. And my son, he was having like delay issues. Like, we didn't know what was going on with him. He was always sick. And then it felt like he was always out doing other things. Like, I get it, you're in another country, go have fun. But then it got to the point where it's like he was always going out and not really, like, I was always in and out of the hospital with our son. And got to the point too where my grandpa ended up getting hospitalized, and my grandpa would let my dad figure. And like, I was planning like on moving in with him, my grandpa. After I got out the military, I was like, I'm gonna finish my term and just move in with them. You know, take a break from Brett. Maybe we need a break, like, you know, because we rushed everything. I was like, maybe we'll take a healthy break, and if things work out, I'll come back home. My grandpa passed away, and I didn't have that to go home to, and a lot of things gone wrong after that. I kind of didn't care no more. I miss my grandpa so much, and like, to lose him was so hard. But I needed that wake up call. I know my son should have been it, but then, you know, it was getting worse, and I'm like, and I had a contract with the military, so I'm like, yeah, I can get out, but like, what is my plan? I don't have a plan. I don't know what to do. And like, I was thinking of staying in because I'm like, we need money, you know, obviously. And then I was thinking of maybe doing real estate. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to do, because you know how I told y'all, like, they only told me to do 4 years. I kept hearing that. You said you're only going to do 4 years and you're going to get out. Why are you not doing that? And I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, you're right. As my mental health, I can't talk. As my mental health was just declining, I was just like, I was just like this all the time. I was having I don't even know how to say it, derealization moments, to where it felt like everything was moving forward, and I'm lost. I'm like, my body's on go autopilot, but I'm not even functioning right. Like, it was like that. Suicidal episodes. He ended up coming home. Like, I had a good routine. Like, I was faking it, and he gets home, and then it's, of course, worse again. I'm just like, you know, you can only fake it so much. And then I did lose my grandpa, so like, that was really hard on me, and I was going down a really bad path after that. Like, I didn't care no more, and because, like, I mean, I was planning on going to move in with him, and then to know I don't have that anymore, and I never wanted to go back home. I never wanted to go back to my mom's house. I always was like, I'm not going back home. I'm not moving back to Houston. I'm not moving back to Houston. And where did I end up? Back here. And you want to know how? It got so bad to where my own baby daddy's mom was like, I think it's best for you to leave. She goes, it's that bad, you need to leave. And I'm like, I said in that moment, I was like, I have nobody. Where am I gonna go? I didn't know where to go. I was like, and then I started going to God. I was like, God, I know I've never been doing good with you, God. I know. I started. It was like, God, please. I was begging at that moment. I was like, please tell me what I need to do. I was just crying. I remember this because, like, I just remember it was like, take my hand, I'll guide you. It just was like a unrealistic moment. Like, I seen this post on TikTok where it looked like he was grabbing someone's hand, and it was like perfect timing because I was thinking of that moment. I was like, that's exactly how it felt. God just reached down for me. Like, I was in hell, literal hell. And God said, give me your hand, I got you, you're mine. This is literally like what I was hearing. And I'm like, Thank God. I was doing real estate, and I knew it wasn't for me. I knew it, but my baby daddy kept pushing me. Well, you need to do this. You're gonna make money. You're gonna do this. And like while he's playing video games, and I didn't play video games at the time. Like I was just thinking about work. What am I gonna make income after this? Like how am I gonna do this? How am I gonna survive? Like and like I was still staying with him. I was like, I don't want to stay with him. And but I was thinking of side incomes. I'm like, what do I need to do? But like the whole time he was deployed on the last deployment, like I was finishing my real estate stuff, and I was just like, this doesn't feel like it's for me. It never felt like it was for me. And it wasn't, honestly, because like it failed twice. I passed the third time and my exam, and as I was like in contract with the last one, I'm over here living here. Like I knew it wasn't for me. And then too, I tried doing it here, but it kept getting blocked, and I was like, I couldn't find the time for it even when I had the time. You know what I mean? And anytime somebody was to call me on the phone, I didn't want to talk to nobody. I was going through the worst time of my life. Of course I didn't want to talk to nobody. You know what I mean? And so I ended up just picking up my shit and leaving, obviously. This is in Arizona, by the way. And as I was taking my son to his appointments all were ass. I'm just gonna say it. They didn't care about him. He obviously had more things going on with him. And anytime we pressed on it, or anytime we go to an appointment, so what's wrong with him? I had to re-explain. I was praying, like on my way to his appointment. I was like, God, my life is just going to shit. Like I was seeking therapies. Nothing was helping. I was on thousands of medications because, you know, the military want to just throw medications at you. My health was declining. Like, I was going down the wrong path, clearly. And yes, I asked God for a hand. And I didn't hear from him for a little bit. But then one day I was driving to my son's appointment. And I remember this day. I was driving. It was like 6:30. I was driving by myself. My son's in the back, and I'm just crying. Like I'm crying. I'm like, God, like, what do I need to do? I was like, show me something, please. And I got like a vision of like a house, and I'm like, and it was a big house. I'm like, ain't no way. And I'm not gonna lie. Like I laughed. I was like, God, am I gonna sell that home? But all I kept hearing in the back, you need to move back to Houston. You need to move back to Houston. You need to move back to Houston. And then I seen a house, and I'm like, there's no way. I'm not moving back to Houston. And he sure was right. I literally was doing real estate, and I was on the phone. I was asking the VA people, I was like, what do you need? And they're like, you need 2 years of this. You need like to buy a home. And I'm like, I can't do that. I was like, there's no way. And I was just like, I kept getting like dead ends. I'm like, I don't know what to do. But then I'm like, God told me this. I'm gonna have a house. But like, I told myself, when am I gonna have a house? And so I ended up going to, what did I do? Oh, on the way to the appointment, I ended up seeing that, and then I kept hearing, move back to Houston. And so I started talking to one of our old like friends that I grew up with, and he was like, oh, I want to buy a home. And he was like, my mom could try to get us a loan and whatnot. And I was like, I don't mind having a roommate. So like in my mind, like I was always like chatting with him because like he was a close friend, family friend, and ended up being like he's gonna get the loan, and I'll live with him with my son. And he was okay with it. It was just gonna be us three. You know, he has his own area, and I have my own area in the house, you know, to get back on my feet. And it got to the point where it was getting like irritable at the spot I was in. I was just like, ugh. We kept talking about it, and I'm like, am I really gonna do it? And then it got to the point where that's when my baby daddy's mom was like, you need to leave. And I'm like, all right. So we all go to Houston, me, my son, and my baby daddy. And me and my baby daddy, we get into this big fight, and he's like, I don't want you back home. And I'm like, Okay. Yeah, I mean, he kind of made it easy for me because look, I'm already in Houston and God told me to be here. But the only problem was all my shit was in Arizona in my car. And I'm just like, what am I going to do? Like, do I really do this? And I just asked my mom. I was like, because I was at my mom's house. And at the moment, we were good. And I was like, Mom, can I stay with you? And she's like, yeah, of course. Like, you can move in. And the room I was in, it was literally like a bed and like filing cabinets and like a TV. And then like the closet was full to the brim. And then you can barely even open the closet. So if I wanted to even hang anything up, I couldn't. And so I just like, this is how I was staying for 2-3 months. I had my suitcase, I had all my clothes in it, and anytime I needed clothes, I'll just pull it out, open it, and then when I was done, close it, put it underneath, and that was where I kept my clothes. And then my son had a room upstairs he had for the grandsons, and he would stay up there. And then he had a closet upstairs, so I put a little bit of stuff, like when I did move my car, like here, I put some stuff on hangers, like the rest of my clothes, and I just hung them up. And yeah, when I did move back here. And yeah, I was like, I'm never moving back to Houston. And where did I end up? And who ended up getting a home? I did. And did that vision match the home? It sure did. I got the vision around October of when I got out of the military, and I got my home in December that year, the same year. That same year. And I'm like, in the moment, obviously, I'm like, God's doing this. God's doing this. And as soon as I'm here, I'm here. I'm living here. And I ended up having the roommate, but he ended up going up, like having the upstairs and then having a game room and whatnot. But it didn't work out. And I'm glad it didn't work out because God had this plan for me. And this is mine. Nobody could touch it because this is mine. This is my home. And it's nice to have a home to call mine, A home that couldn't be taken away from anybody because this is God's foundation. God did this. God showed me the vision. God made it happen. And I stayed at my mom's for a little bit and it was very toxic. And everybody kept saying, why you leave your mom's? Why? I'm like, you don't understand. Why? Because you're not me. You didn't grow up that way. You didn't grow up with sisters as bullies. You didn't grow up as, a mom that really doesn't tell you that she's proud of you or that you're beautiful or that you're doing a good job. No. You just get judged, looked upon, and you get talked about. And, maybe once in a while I wanted to be like, you're doing the right thing. Or everything's going to be okay. Not talked about or like trying to be nice so they can get information so they could talk about you later on and spread your business to everybody in the world. No. Like, I'm here for you. If you need anything, I truly am here for you. But no, I didn't get that. I didn't get that at all. I wish I did. Maybe I would have stayed, but I didn't. God took me from that situation. But God literally served a table in front of my enemies. And the reason I say that is because as soon as I got my house, everybody was talking shit. My mom, my dad, my sisters. The oldest sister was like, I'm a bum. Both my younger siblings have houses while I'm sitting at my mom's house. And then you get my mom. My mom's over here like, oh yeah, Vanessa's bragging about how her house is bigger than mine. I seen a vision, and as soon as I seen the house, I got my pre-approval that day, and I just took it because I knew this is what God has in store for me. And the reason why I say it is God, because as soon as I started, like, when you're out of your traumas, you're like finally seeing all the signs. You're finally like taking the blindfold off. You're seeing how God orchestrated everything. I literally looked at my house number and it says my favorite number and with the age I bought my home. My favorite number and the age I bought my home. And I told my baby daddy that because he ended up moving here. And he's like, my favorite number is my lot number. And I'm like, that's God. And like literally God started like uncovering my blindness. He kept me blinded because once I was ready to receive, everything that he literally was gonna show me, like I don't know how to explain that. But like God kept me a little blinded because obviously like I wouldn't, when I was buying the home, I didn't like, oh, look at the numbers of the home. No, I was like, I seen my vision and I seen it. I was like, I have to have that. But then when I started actually like getting closer to God, everything started like uncovering. Like the signs were there. The signs were everywhere. And I'm like, that's when I started realizing like the airplane, like the couple was like warning me in a way, but they didn't realize it. They were just planting the seeds. And then like to like, what it took for me to actually leave my baby daddy was him leaving me here. Because I never would ever want to leave, like, not leave him, but like, I didn't want to have a broken family, first of all. But I mean, come on. I'm not going to stay somewhere I'm not loved or properly loved or cared for, or it's always harmful, it's always violence, abuse, I'm not staying in an environment like that. I know I deserve better, and my son and I deserve better. And yeah, and then the reason why I say like God put me here is because I had unfinished business here. And it's because my family, like, they're feeding me poison, obviously. You know that saying. And I'm glad and blessed and honored to have done everything that God has in store for me, and I can't wait to see what else God has in store for me. But like, definitely me being here was no coincidence. Me buying this home was orchestrated by God, and I know it is. And that's what I'm trying to say. Like, when I was looking in this neighborhood, I got guided to this neighborhood. This freaking home was so freaking expensive. And, like, the homes over there. And I was like, oh, when I got my pre-approval, if I was only buying the home for myself, I would have bought way under my budget. But me, with a roommate, I was like, let me just spoil us, in a way. Not like spoil me and my roommate, but like me and my son. Like I was like, I'm gonna spoil us because we're gonna live good. Like, because I'm splitting income with somebody. God said no. But you're gonna need his help for a little bit, and then, you're gonna plant the seeds of how God's been doing everything for you. Because with my roommate, man, I was talking about God every single day. It felt like literally every conversation, I was like, God's doing this, God's doing that. Like, I felt like I was always talking about God. And too, like, I was telling him about the visions, and he's just like, we can't afford that, or like, we're not gonna get that, or like this and that. And I'm like, or like when I actually put the offer in, it was like kind of like, you sure you can get that, or you sure it's gonna work out? It was always like negative. And I'm like, bro, you're my roommate, you're supposed to be supportive, bro. But then when we actually did it, it was like, oh shit, she did it, And so we ended up we're looking at homes on the lake, and I was like, I don't want a home on a lake. Like, my backyard is literally like would be the lake, and I know that sounds nice, but like, I'm gonna have people walking by, and I don't want to be sitting outside and people are walking by. Like, I get it, but like, I like privacy. Like, I don't want people to like jump my fence so easily and can see me while I'm sleeping. I don't know, I think about the weirdest things, okay? But it didn't feel right. Nothing felt right. And like, the prices were way overpriced. They were like 20K more to be on the lake. And I was like, And then online, like, as it got towards me finding out my pre-approval, I was like, why don't he show me this home? And I'm looking online. I was like, why does it look so familiar? I just kept saying that. I was like, why does it feel so like I've seen the home before? And then it got to the point where we're seeing the other homes again and again because he's trying to sell us on the more expensive homes. And this one was like not even that much like more than those. I mean, less than those other ones. It's like 20K less, but like they had it listed like 20K less than the ones on the lake. And I was like, what about this one? And he was like, oh yeah, we have one right available. It's almost about to be done actually next month, or like, I don't know what he was saying. I can't remember. And I'm like, well, why don't you show me it? And then as soon as I seen the home, I was like, that morning I had got my pre-approval, and it was 10K short of my pre-approval, and I was like, okay, the home wasn't, but like the offer I was gonna put, okay, the home was like 40K over what I asked, like I had asking. I was like, ah. But like I had prior like real estate like knowledge. I was like hyping that up and whatnot. And so I literally looked at the home and we seen it, and I was like, I told my roommate, I was like, I love it. I said, I have to get this home. There's no ends, ifs, or buts or whatnot. I think I have to get this home. And sure enough, something came out of me. I said my offer. I was like, this include washer and dryer, because like I was like, I don't have money for that. And I was like, please include a fridge. Like I didn't say please, but I was like, include a fridge. And then I lowballed them. I was like, please. And I mean, lowball is part of what it's actually worth. You know what I mean? He said, let me talk to my manager about it and I'll get back to you. I'm like, that's fine by me. No counter, none of that. It got straight approved. And I ended up closing like within the next month. All thanks to God. I don't know what took over me. And I ended up getting all my appliances too. I'm like, as my other sister's moving into her home, I'm moving into my home too. I'm like, look at us. I was so happy. I was like, there's no way. Like every day at my mom's, I was like, what am I gonna do? I was like, I can't live here no more. Like my older sister's coming in and starting shit all the time, talking shit. Like it doesn't feel like a home. Like I don't need to just be trapped in this little room. Anytime she'll come in, my son's crying because of how loud she is. It's like, it was always inconsiderate of like me. Like, cause you know, someone's always got to be the center of attention. I mean, I don't want to be, but you know, other people, you know, when they have to be, they're loud for no reason. And so, you know, there's reasons why I didn't want to be there anymore. And she lived down the street, so she was always at my mom's house. And you know, like her and my old best friend want to have a shit talking fest about me when I first moved back home, or was about to. And that just showed me their true colors. So I didn't care to talk to them. I didn't care to have my family close to me. I just needed God, because God told me I needed to come back to Houston, and that was my way. Staying with my mom for a couple months, like 2 to 3 months, and then boom, the house that I laughed at, when I was like, God, there's no way. God said, yes, there is. I'm gonna make a way. God made a way for me. I left my toxic relationship when I should have left it when it first started happening. The red flags were red flagging. But I didn't. I was like, I just wanted to be loved. I just wanted to be loved, okay? But God's love is way more better than any love anybody could give you. And I didn't know the importance or any of that. I liked it. I liked everything, obviously. I wish I knew, obviously. And that's why I feel like God's making me talk about it. So if you do watch this, just know that you are loved by God, and God does love you, and God will make a way for you if you feel like your life is going down. Just ask him to turn your life around, because my life has done a 360. I'm living the life that I always dreamed about since I was a little girl. Yes, I don't have my dream man right now, maybe because I'm not ready. I'm not the woman of God that God needs me to be. I'm working on it. But that woman of God, that one that's strong in her faith, that can't let nobody take her down, I'm working on that. But back then, I wasn't the woman of God. Yes, I believed, but I wasn't that strong woman that stood on her faith, that talked about everything that she had going on. That if a guy says, oh, I don't believe, I don't sit there and just take it. No, I'm like, I'm going to go find me a man who do. Or I'm going to find me a, not even find me a man, I'm going to wait for God to send me my man. You know what I mean? You see the difference? I was over there like, I'll just settle. No, but that's not what God has in store for you. Let God work on you. Invite God in. Be like, God, please take over my life. Please, I need you. Please. Because the amount of times I asked God to do that, he did. He has me exactly where I'm supposed to be. And he has you exactly where you need to be, because he's ready for you to receive all that God has in store for you. Let him work on you. You won't regret it. I don't regret it. Yes, it's maybe lonely to lose everybody that you thought were for you, but they don't love you like God loves you. They're not going to treat you the way God would treat you. They're not going to care for your best interest the way God has his best interest for you. They're not. The moment things start going bad, or the moment, you start realizing your worth, they will turn their backs on you. And they would treat you like you're some enemy. When you're not. When you're standing in your truth, you're standing in your worth, and you're standing in what God has called you to do. And if people can't stand next to you, have them stand from afar and watch you blossom, watch you grow, watch you fly away out of your cocoon into a butterfly. Watch. Because God has so much in store for us. We just got to let him work on us. That's what I'm saying. Last couple years ago, I wasn't a man. Oh, a man of God. I'm sorry. A woman of God. Now, the way people, I tell them about my life or how it's going, they look at me, they're like, I need a woman like you. But are you a man of God? Are you going to be what God has called you to be and lead me to lead me to Christ, lead me to God? Are you going to put in some temptations, the sinning? What are you going to do? What is your intentions with me? Because, if they're not pure, I don't want you. I'm sorry. I will cut you off if you're not pure, or, you don't have pure intentions, because my relationship with God is serious. The way God has transformed my life, I can't go back. I will not allow myself to go back. I deserve so much because I know my worth. I know what I offer to the table. I know God has a lot in store for me, and I'm going to walk that path. I am. Even if it means that I have nobody by my side in the physical realm, it's fine. It's fine because I have God, and he's a powerful God. He created this world. He created you. He created everything that's living and on this earth. What do you mean he can't transform my life? He did it within 2 months, 3 months. He transformed my life. He did it in a month. He makes anything happen. He's my God. He's your God too. You just gotta let him in. And if you already let him in, shit, you're one step closer than anybody that's neglecting their faith, neglecting the thought of God. No, y'all crazy. I have people come to me and say how crazy I am. That's fine if you don't believe. But I pray that God makes it to where you do, because blinded people are just lost in my eyes. I was lost. I was so lost. And this moral of everything is that I was without Christ from after basic till, or tech school-ish, my first duty station to, I want to say, when I moved here. I was lost. And I'm finally feeling good, really good. Obviously I still have my episodes of depression, etc., or am I doing the right thing? But that's just enemy. That's the enemy trying to get to me. But really though, God has done so much for me. And I could keep talking about my faith and everything after this testimony is done, but that is literally how God transformed my life. He saved me. He offered his hand and I took it. And I said, I don't care what I have to lose. And I took it. Looking back on it, I'm so happy I took that leap of faith. I can't talk. But I'm so happy I did. I'm so happy. If I didn't, I would not be here. I would be struggling. I would be sinning. I would be doing things I didn't want to be doing. I would be just living a life for worldly things, not for God. And I love God. And God has done so much for me, and I'm live for God. Y'all crazy if y'all think that's crazy. Living for God feels amazing. To have a pure heart feels amazing. To have good intentions feel amazing. To have blessings coming in instead of who wants bad things happening to them all the time? Not me. When I was having bad things happen to me, I'm like, why me? Why me? Why me? Why me? And now I'm like, God, what are you doing? Me? You doing this for me? There's no way. When I started receiving blessings after blessings after blessings, I'm like, God, stop. No, don't stop. I'm very grateful and blessed, but stop. You really do love us. And yes, I may have, my days where I'm ungrateful. Not ungrateful, but I I get sad and I get depressed. I'm like, am I doing the right thing, God? Am I on the right track? Like, but like, I have to sit here and look back on my past, and I'm like, wow. And after I did the testimonies, my dad calling CPS on me and saying I'm a crackhead, I'm saying I'm doing this and that, and I'm like, it really triggered everyone. Everyone blocked me, and I'm like, like, what I said was the truth, and if y'all don't like the truth, maybe y'all should have never done that to me. And yes, I wasn't always the best, but I tried to be. I tried to always make y'all happy, and it was never good enough. And I'm sorry that y'all feel that way towards me, but I still love y'all, and I love everybody. Like my baby daddy, I love you. My mom, I love you. My dad, I love y'all. My sisters, I love y'all a lot, and I really care for y'all, and I really hope y'all doing good. I really hope everybody's doing good. Like, I genuinely love y'all, and it is hard for me to say my truth because I knew I would ruffle some feathers. But living for God, I had to obey. I had to finish my testimony. I had to. I had to finish this. And it's for a good cause. It's to save lost souls. And I will talk more about my faith, and I felt like me not finishing this testimony was really holding me back. Like, low-key finishing this makes me feel way better. And now I just have to post it. So thank y'all for watching. And if y'all want to see the rest of my testimonies, I have a whole series. And this will be my final to this series. And I will touch base more on my faith and do get to know me's on other playlists. So I love y'all. And if y'all stayed this long, God loves you. Bye.